We should take over your IG right now.
Whatever y'all want to do. Whatever y'all want to do. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Tonight's Woke Wednesdays. We do this every single Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today's the 4th of July. Whatever that means, and we're gonna get into it. And we have a phenomenal just group of young people here, advocates, organizers, activists. Please feel free to introduce yourselves, let the people know. I said that first. Yeah, I said that first. Organizer. Yeah, I said that first. Let the people know who you are. What y'all do? Who are you?
Hello, everyone. My name is Brittany. We were in a meeting. I tell you, you can call me Britt, you can call me BK, you can call me King. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I was born and raised here in Florida. I'm a Florida native. And I'm an organizer with the Dream Defenders. I've been part of the org since 2014. And I'm really happy to be here on your show.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anier, pronouns he, him, his. I'm from Opelika, Florida. Not a Florida native, but I was raised in Opelika, Florida. That's my city. I love my city. And I've been with Dream Defenders since 2017.
Man, well, I appreciate y'all being on the show. Seriously, thank you so very much. Brittany was talking about taking over the show. Please feel free. Please feel free to do what you want to do.
Because you asked us what the difference between an organizer and an activist is, right?
Yeah. So, before we got the show started, we were kind of talking about that.
As organizers, what we do is we create an atmosphere for engagement. We create opportunities to really build relationships with folks so we can organize our communities. I think the biggest difference between someone who calls themselves an activist is that they're not directly linked to the community that they say they're fighting for. And as organizers, we're steeped in community. That's the main thing that we do. We organize community, we build community, and we share it in community. Not to use that word 3 times in a sentence, but that's basically the main difference.
Would you add anything to that, or take away anything to that?
I think she got it.
And the interesting part is that part of this of organizing too is there's a very physical component to it, right? You are literally, when you say like organizing your community, you are there physically present.
Yeah, we're on the ground. We're knocking on doors. We're hosting events in the community. We're providing services for the community or providing access to service to communities. So not that we're the providers, but we make sure that they can get links to like family services or different things that would make their lives better overall. So,
and I think that's a good foundation kind of for what we're going to talk about tonight. Tonight obviously is the 4th of July. So thank y'all for tuning in. You could be with your friends, family, with fireworks and all that stuff. But tonight we really want to seriously engage and question what freedom means. In fact, I have something called freedom papers in front of me, this word is oftentimes thrown around, like many words, right? Like the term love. I love ice cream. Like it's thrown around, but we very rarely really get to question it and really try to kind of grapple with it. And I think the work that y'all do is phenomenal and extremely amazing. So when we talk about freedom, and on a day like this especially, where people are getting fucked up, drinking, with American flags all over the place, what does kind of freedom mean to you, especially within the work that you all do? And if this is y'all's first time tuning into Woke Wednesdays, please feel free to comment, ask questions, and I would also ask y'all, how do y'all define freedom? What does freedom mean to y'all? And whoever would like to go first.
Okay. Well, what freedom means to me is the freedom to be yourself, to think how you want to think, but have a moral compass of how you think. So it's always, freedom of, caring about the next person, freedom of, just being, able to, survive in the world and have the necessities that you need to survive. So that's what freedom is to me.
To me, which is, if you ever get a chance to follow our Instagram page, it's the Dream Defenders. You'll see on there we have different videos that take from the Freedom Papers, and they each outline each of the freedoms, each of the 7 freedoms that we feel as Floridians we deserve to be free in Florida. The freedom to be is our last freedom, and I truly and honestly hold that to my heart, because You know, there's always things that in our society are made to hold you down and box you in. And I really believe that the freedom to be means, like, you know, you could be who you want to be, you could do what you want to do, and as long as that doesn't hinder you from, you know, being around other people, or, you know, like what Inir said, like, as long as you have a moral compass for who you want to be and how you want to be in the world, you should be free to be exactly who you want to be and operate in that way. So that's my favorite freedom, and that's what freedom means to me.
So the way we're kind of, if I'm hearing y'all correctly, is that freedom is kind of exercised through people, right? It can be, it's something to be experienced.
Yeah.
So do y'all believe that everyone experiences and exercises freedom in the same capacity, or are they able to do so in a place, in a world like ours? And Kevin is saying that freedom to him is free in his mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, that's one of our favorites.
Yeah, actually, well, that's
really?
like what we use to describe the freedom
Yeah,
papers.
it's like one of the ones to describe it. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that everyone gets to have freedom? Everyone gets to exercise it and experience it in the same capacity. So even the three of us are here. Do you think the three of us get to experience freedom in the exact same way?
No, I mean, we have a level of privilege with what we experience, right? So our freedom is definitely different from someone else's freedom that may live maybe 20 minutes away from here, or who are probably popping off fireworks right now, and somebody may get arrested in their neighborhood for doing what the folks on campus are doing right now. So there are levels of freedom that we have that other folks don't get to experience.
Yep. And it's interesting because I was reading something about how sometimes we think about the freedom as the absence of coercion. So like no one's making you do something. And that's how sometimes I think a lot of folks would actually kind of interpret freedom in that way. But I think there are also like little things where our conduct, our behaviors are kind of shaped through different things. And I think that ends up actually inhibiting our freedoms. So like women, right, can't have a different type of freedom than men, for example, right? Men don't have to worry about certain things, right? Like women have to because of the world that we live in, right? So that's one thing I think is extremely important as we're kind of critiquing and kind of interrogating what freedom is to kind of be talking about tonight. And again, I see a lot of new folks getting on. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to pose them. We have some awesome people on tonight. So one thing that y'all have said, you keep on referring to these freedoms. Like there's 7 freedoms.
Yes, there's.
Okay, so y'all are activists, y'all are organizers, y'all are advocates. What is the Dream Defenders? Because there's a lot of groups out there, right, who are also advocates and organizers. So who are the Dream Defenders?
Okay, so the Dream Defenders is a abolitionist organization that was founded here in Florida after the death of Trayvon Martin. We believe in 3 main tenets: the freedom from over-policing of our communities, the freedom from the school to prison, or the system of the school to prison pipeline, and freedom from, I said police? Yeah. Police, prisons, and schools. Yeah, so prisons. Freedom from prisons and mass incarceration.
Okay.
3 main tenets.
And one thing that's really cool, I think the first time I saw y'all speak was at an event in Broward. And I love the intersectionality of the Dream Defenders. Yeah. And even the way y'all started tonight talking about your pronouns, right? I've been told to like that I should start doing that, and I've tried, but I'm not good. I need to do better. I need to do better at opening the show like that with pronouns.
Practice, you just gotta get into it.
And I need to do better. I've been called out on the show like at least 3 times about that. So even your very introduction like that is, I think, an example of the type of intersectionality that you all embrace and also kind of exercise. So do you think Dream Defenders is kind of very intersectional with their approaches, like very multicultural?
Yeah, I feel like we really are multicultural and intersectional. Like we don't disagree on like if you're gay, straight, bi, or whatever you identify yourself as. It's not a problem in the organization. We try to educate people on that subject a lot, and as a person that came outside of it, like last year, just learning about it a lot and just accepting it is really something that is an experience for myself.
Yeah.
So it's something that
I think that's a great point. Yeah.
And really, it's about meeting people where they are. We say that a lot in our organizing work. Like, you have to meet somebody where they're at. You can't assume that they're gonna understand what pronouns are. Like, it's a journey. It took me a while to understand. Like, okay, if somebody identifies as they, you know, I didn't grow up with that type of identifier.
I think many of us did.
That's real. So, you know, you have to understand that there's an education that comes along with it, and it takes time. But once you understand it, once you know better, you do better. So, our organization is very intersectional. We are formerly a Black and Brown organization, Black and Brown youth-led organization. But there's room. There's room for everybody.
So I was actually going to ask about that, but real quick, I remember the first time I heard someone say they were identified as Z. I was like,
I've never heard that one.
What is that? Z. I had to start Googling.
Okay.
And it took a different way of just like identified, like I guess like gender non-binary.
Okay. I've heard the non-binary.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, y'all.
Never heard of Z. That's gonna take some research.
Yeah. Real quick, Jason's saying, I don't think we can all equally experience freedom. Even mental freedom is a privilege. Some people are trapped in their own minds, whether it's a mental disorder or even insecurities.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh my gosh. Talk about insecurities all day, every day.
We definitely can. That's a whole other show. I was actually reading something. I'm glad Jason brought that up. I was reading something about how Hitler, during these extermination camps, he believed that even thinking was a type of freedom. So he even wanted to take away the ability of people's ability to even think for themselves. When we talk about slavery in the United States, there's a really good line from The Great Debaters, if y'all have seen it, where Denzel says, talking about slaves, keep the body strong but the mind weak. There's something about the mind, right? When you can make it weak, and that take away someone's, I guess, different freedom.
Well, they say knowledge is power.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And a strong mind, you know what I'm saying? And the mind is a horrible thing to waste. So you got quotes like that.
Think
about like how strong the mind is, you know, just by quotes like that.
Absolutely.
And then to take it back full circle, one of the freedoms that we have is the freedom of mind.
And that's what something.
Y'all got all the freedoms. Y'all giving away freedoms. Okay. We know that's. I mean, I love it. Quick question, because I've been wanting to have dream defenders on the show for a minute now.
We're so happy to be here.
Man,
Thank you.
I've been trying to get in contact with y'all, but I'm not gonna go there. But I need to go to meetings are on Tuesday nights, correct?
So,
Tuesday night at 7:00.
Tuesday nights.
Every other Tuesday at 7.
every other
Yes.
Tuesday. Every other
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We're at the Belafonte Tacosi Center in Liberty City. Every other Tuesday, 7 p.m. So our last meeting was this Tuesday. We'll have another one 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Anyone is welcome to come.
Yes.
Yeah, anyone
I didn't know if you had to pay dues on the first day. I didn't know if it was like church.
We do have membership orientation, so after you, and we try to have them every month. After you've come to a couple meetings, come to a couple of events, come canvassing with us, and you've expressed interest to be a part of the membership, then you know.
What is canvassing?
So canvassing, like I said earlier, we're on the ground, we're knocking on doors, and right now we're doing what we call our Freedom Voter Questionnaire, or looking to promote the Freedom Pledge.
You put it up.
And it's basically us promoting Amendment 4 that's going to be on the ballot this year. We are knocking on doors in communities all around Miami. To let folks know that this amendment's going to be on the ballot, to let them know, to tell their friends, neighbors, their family members about it. And Amendment 4, I don't know, it's the amendment to restore formerly convicted felons' rights here in the state of Florida. We are one of 3 states who actually don't give formerly convicted peoples their rights back once they've gone through their process and are now citizens. Yeah, there's only 3.
Wow, and of course Florida.
Of course Florida. So we're trying to make that number to 2. And there are about 1.7 million people in the state right now that don't have their voting rights restored because of being formerly convicted felons. So that's one of the things we do. We actually just came from canvas today. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask y'all all the questions about this, because and so part of it, having y'all, I always tell people that I think Woke Wednesdays, for me, it's very selfish that I get to talk to really cool people, and I can just ask all the questions I want. So I am curious.
what made y'all want to join an organization that organizes and also y'all are huge advocates and activists, because a lot of people out here, we were talking earlier before the show, they engage in this like clicktivism, right? Where they just click share. Woke Wednesdays is maybe even a part of that problem, where I just kind of share posts and stuff. But what y'all do, this is like real serious. Y'all are there. So what made y'all want to organize and join an organization like this for people who have maybe been thinking about joining an organization as well? What was kind of like, all right, I need to get involved?
Well, for me, I was in Tallahassee when Trayvon Martin was killed, and I wasn't part of any organizing community. I wasn't woke, quote unquote. So in that moment, I posted the picture on Instagram, and I sat there, and I remember distinctly having this thought in my head, like, I really want to do something. Like, I can't sit around and just post this picture anymore. Like, that's not doing anything. I want to know what's happening. Why is a young man like this, who's just walking down the street from a corner store in his neighborhood, like his family lived there, so that's his neighborhood, why does it have to always end up like this? So after that moment, I was like, I need community. I need to be around people who are thinking about the ways in which the world works and want to do something to change it. So that was my defining moment. And shortly after that, I moved to Gainesville, and shout out to the Godsville squad. Woo! I joined the Godsville squad of Dream Defenders, and that's when it started for me.
Well, I started in 2017. I went to a meeting. My friend Vivian invited me. I see her do the work, but at that time I was, busy, just trying to, face life, going through life. And I went, and the topic was mass incarceration. And I related to the topic because at a young age, my father was arrested on a drug conviction. He did about 20 years in jail, federal prison, and then was deported to the Dominican Republic. So I saw the effects of mass incarceration and how it affects growing up without a father. So you miss out on that and all that. And then also how just seeing kids, in my neighborhood, get kicked out of school, not go back to school, and then they just go through a cycle of crime and trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. And I was part of a crime prevention program and things like that, and this is what Dream Defender was talking about: school prison pipeline, mass incarceration. I understood all of that, and I related to that in some way. So I was like, let me just be part of it, try to figure out how I fit in, and so far, it's been probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
And then just to bounce off Enier for his story, like, all of us, our stories are so interrelated in the ways that, things like this will bring people into an organization and radicalize them. Like, just like Enier had family members who spent many years in jail, I have family now today that are in jail. My brother was taken away from me when I was 5 years old. Like, there are defining moments in people's lives, like, you don't even realize it, but when things like Trayvon Martin happen, or when you see these ICE detention centers being raided and folks are being taken away from their homes, those are those radicalizing moments and those defining moments that bring people to an organization like ours to say, hey, I want to change this because this isn't right.
And and I think your stories are so extremely powerful, and I wonder how many people also relate to these stories. Even if it's not like a personal thing, maybe they've seen a friend go through it, or they've seen somebody at their church go through it. But what we see too is that what you all are doing also requires sacrifice, right? It requires hard work. It requires getting uncomfortable. Y'all are canvassing before this, and now you're here with me hanging out. Like, it is work. So when we talk about organizing, I was telling y'all we had someone from two people from Movimiento Cosecha who do work around undocumented folks, and they work full time in this organization. They get $200 a month. Their housing and food is covered, but that's it. Like, Like
I mean, you say that's a lot.
but
housing and food, like it's hard out here. We're volunteers, so like we don't get paid for this work. It's
are y'all full-time?
Full-time volunteers.
Well, I'm in a fellowship right now.
Yeah, he's in a fellowship.
I'm in a fellowship right now. So
There's a Dream Defenders fellowship.
yeah, it's a fellowship.
Okay.
Where you go, pretty much like we just go around canvassing and making sure that we collect pledges and that we have town halls and just making sure that we spread the word on Amendment 4. So pretty much just what right now, I am getting paid for it. You know what I'm saying? It's a stipend. It's mostly young folks that do it. So just coming like a little older, you know what I'm saying? mid-20s. It's a little harder, but it's work that I am passionate about and I do care about. And I do want to get that passed because I feel like that's a step.
Yeah.
Passing a bill like that into our Florida statutes or just in Florida in general is just something that I feel is very important because it's a step to, let's say, workers able to apply for a job and getting that job. You know what I'm saying? Or workers, felons, just not being discriminated in general in any aspect of society. Just to take that stigma out that they did their time.
Yeah.
Now they're back in society and they're trying to do well. Because right now, let's say somebody, get out of jail and what's their option? To be back on the block, you know what I'm saying? And just, try to figure out what they're going to do next. So I feel like passing that, right to vote for nonviolent felons is important.
And also what y'all are doing is such selfless work.
Yeah.
Right? A person they'll apply and get a job, hopefully once Amendment 4 goes through, but they'll never know the work that you all did and that others are doing just to make that even possible. That we hate that it even requires this to even for that to happen, right? But some folks will never know.
Well, I'll challenge you on that because once this gets passed, there is more work to do because we got to let all of those folks know who don't have the right to vote that they finally do.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna push them to the polls. So.
Okay. I mean but again, it goes back to being selfless, hard work, sacrifice, right? Which I think is extremely important that people understand, like what y'all are doing, and what they could also be doing. Maybe not like 40 hours a week volunteering, but every little bit helps. If someone can maybe give like 2-3 hours to canvas a week or every 2 weeks, that's something, right?
And even more so, like if they have any like personal passions, like I'm an artist by trade, so I do theater. And one of the things that I do is I use theater to teach political education in our community. So we have different artistic residencies that we tour around the nation, and we teach folks about issues of Palestine, issues of oppression, issues of mass incarceration and gentrification, and what that means for us as the youth of the state or of the area. And we use theater techniques to open people up to the idea that you can still play and learn at the same time. So whatever other skills folks have, if you code, let's go out there and teach kids how to code, like make websites. There are other ways to get involved. You don't have to be on the ground every day canvassing like we do, but you can definitely be in your community teaching skills, teaching life skills, teaching folks like about the political process, what it means to really be a part of local elections, how important local elections are. Like there's a bunch of ways folks can get involved, but the work is there and it's needed. So we all need to be doing our part, I believe. No,
for sure. And this brings us back to tonight's topic about freedom, even about talking about prisoners and coming back to the workforce, back to the community. Like you said it perfectly. Like they've served their time, and oftentimes, like I'm not gonna say oftentimes, but we do know that people get wrongfully convicted all the time. Yeah. Right? We know that people are going to prison for things that other folks aren't going to prison for. They're getting longer sentences. All this goes into play, and they don't get to exhibit these freedoms to the point where even working is a freedom. Right?
Said a mouthful.
So, but let's talk a little bit more about Dream Defenders. So Freedom Papers. I've been seeing it. I saw it all over y'all's website. I was clicking everywhere. What are Freedom Papers in here? These are the Freedom Papers. So what is this?
Well, I'll say the Freedom Papers is pretty much our vision for the state of Florida. It's different freedoms that we think. We have freedom of mind, that has to do with education and the curriculum that we have in our schools. And we have freedom of prisons and police, which is the freedom of over policing and mass incarceration. We have freedom of democracy, which is the freedom of voting. And then we have other freedoms like such as poverty. So we have income equality, especially in the state of Florida, where rent is so high, and then our wages are so low. So
we see this in Miami, yeah.
So that's like just some of the freedoms that are there, and it's just something that that we think should be fixed, and it can be fixed, but it takes community, and it takes hard work to just spread that message around. So that's something that we just really focus on, and we're trying to use different mediums such as video, music, art, and just to spread that message around.
And it's really a conversation starter. All of these freedoms, we do feel that if we had these, we would be a free and flourishing Florida. But folks have different ideas around what freedom looks like and how it feels. Some folks really believe that we need prisons and we really need police to be in our communities. We should talk about that, because I think we could command our own communities. I think if we had community centered boards that had the responsibility to look after their communities, that it would work. We don't need these industries like the Geo Group, which is like the #1 private prison industry in the world, who has hold over our prison system here in Florida. Like, we don't need
they're
these
in Boca,
entities.
right?
They're based in Boca.
Yeah.
Boca Raton, and they operate the Broward Detention Facility here in
a lot of the immigration internment camps. That's what they are.
Definitely.
So let's take one of these, because your organization specifically addresses prisons, police brutality, and what was the last one?
The
School to prison
pipeline. All right, so let's, if someone were to challenge that, right, and they were like, hey, we need prisons, like we need them. There are people who do horrible things. We need prisons. What is like a response they would give? So, because I posted, and I'm asking this for a particular purpose. I posted a post where I was saying away with a bunch of stuff, and one of them was prisons, because I'm a believer that we don't need prisons.
Restorative justice.
Yeah, restorative justice.
And the restorative justice is very new to me, so I can't speak much about it. But from what I know is that, there was a case that I remember one night we were talking about restorative justice, and then something showed up on HBO, and they were talking about how in Tallahassee there was a case where somebody shot their girlfriend, and then the family decided that they wanted to take the restorative justice route, and the state was like, what? Like, you really want to do that? Like, you sure? And then pretty much it's something that's very controversial, because you just killed somebody, and it's very deep and very hurting to the family, but that's the route that they wanted to take. And I feel that sometimes you have to let the person that's been hurt decide what they want to do with the person that hurt them. So it's something that's very complex, but it's very simple, where where you're just giving the opposite justice to the person that's been affected.
And more so, restorative justice is about opening the doors for conversation and understanding. There are a lot of things that, and I know what I'm about to say is controversial, but there are a lot of things that are in play when you talk about, the way that we're criminalized and the way that crime works in our society as a whole. So, the option to say, I'm not going to put this person in a cage. I'm actually going to try to understand where they're coming from. Why in that moment did they choose to do this? Because maybe it's not even about the fact that they killed somebody. I lost someone, but do we need to lose someone else to a system that has been proven? There have been documents stating that prisons don't work, that they actually add to the problem of having an overpopulated prison system. There are other ways for the system to work. And restorative justice is a way and an entry point into saying, look, like, we are community. You're my brother. I'm not gonna throw you away. You're not trash. You're a part of my collective body. So let's figure out how we can help you, instead of locking you up and throwing away the key and saying, oh, well, now they're not. We don't have to have them. They're not part of the society. We don't need them.
Yeah, I feel like prisons is an easy way to just say, okay, let's just sweep the problem under the rug. You know what I'm saying? Sweep the dirt under the rug, and then just let it be, and not address what's going on. So that's the reason why we have not we don't have access to a lot of mental health facilities, because we just say, okay, let's just put them in prison, and they'll probably figure it out in there, and they'll probably quote unquote rehab what the rehab there.
Well Wish is saying true rehabilitation centers rather than prisons.
Yeah.
And she's also saying that a lot of people just don't know about the restorative justice option.
Right.
So real quick, for people who don't know what that restorative justice actually is, like, how would y'all define it?
So we're still, I know for me personally, I'm still getting a lot of training around restorative justice, but it's basically, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's basically like just what I said, like having options for, communication, and opening the doors to different ways of addressing crime, basically. Yeah,
I think an example for restorative justice is, let's say, a drug conviction. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to just throw somebody in jail for 5 years and not, try to help them out, put them in a rehabilitation center, and try to figure out why they went that route.
Yeah,
so it's easier just to go the rehab route, instead of just put them in jail. They do their time, and then what else? What's next?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Try to figure out the person. Try to learn the person.
Basically taking it from the root issue.
Yeah, exactly. What's the root issue?
Yeah, instead of dealing with the...
Yeah. Or let's say armed robbery.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like try to figure out why did you decide to just commit this crime? Try to figure out the person out, try to figure out the reasoning, try to figure out how in society we messed up, and just different things like that. So it's like one of the ways restorative justice works. Yeah.
And there are different models for restorative justice. Like the example that Inya gave around the case where the woman said that she wanted the restorative justice option. There are different ways that it looks, and like I said, I still need to have more research and more knowledge around it. But it's a whole system. Yeah. Just like the prison system, there's a restorative justice system that works in many different ways.
Yeah, and it's not like, okay, the person got away with murder. Sometimes they still do time. In that case, the person did do time. They did, I think, about how many years? Like 15, 20 years. Yeah. They did less time than what the state would have appointed them. But they still go into a process where they sit down, they talk to a counselor, they try to figure out why the person committed that crime, and just go from there. So it's better than just throwing them in jail and just forgetting about them.
What was she saying? It's a way of sweeping under the rug, like you said, and also getting free labor.
Oh, most definitely.
One thing that we see, so there's an assumption when it comes to prisons that, there's a lot of assumptions, I think, on people who are just uninformed about the way the prison system works, and about how we can't talk about prison without talking about capitalism, right? Exploitation of people, the money that is involved, talking about Geo Group. It's so disgusting. Over 2.1, 2, 3, 4 million people in American prisons right now. Yeah. And as we define as prisons, because then you take in the ICE detention centers and the internment camps. It's a whole, and I think that's a whole nother episode. That was the second episode we did when I first started the show. We definitely need to redo it. Maybe we can have y'all back and talk about mass incarceration.
We could take over then, for real.
I'm still waiting for you to take over now. I'm still waiting.
I want your bag to be your bag.
Hey, nah.
I'm not going to take over right now.
It can be our bag. We can restore. We can restore Woke Wednesdays. You see what I'm saying? That's all it is, man. That's all it is. But I think there's a lot of just misunderstandings around prisons, and we also sometimes believe that the people making decisions are moral. And I'll be honest with you, to me, it's not like a bipartisan issue. Democrats have just a disgusting and horrible of a legacy as Republicans. Like Bill Clinton Three Strikes You're Out.
Yeah, the crime bill.
The crime bill, yeah.
I was reading the other day an article where they're like, oh, Democrats have as much as responsibility about prisons and the private prison system that we have going on, just as much as Republicans do.
The New Jim Crow. If anyone has read it, The New Jim Crow is a phenomenal book. Or watch 13th on Netflix. Phenomenal. Do both. There's another book. It's called First. What's it called? Oh, I forgot. It's written by a Japanese professor out of Princeton, who's a director of the African Diaspora Studies Department. And she really goes after Democrats, which is a phenomenal book. I just forgot the name of it. I'll post it on Woke Wednesday so y'all can go check it out. There's a lot of good literature out there just kind of talking about the prisons. There's a lot of good literature comparing. So it's very interesting that in Dream Defenders addresses prisons and school to prison pipeline, because there's a lot of good research talking about how a lot of the behaviors and things that happen in prisons is exactly what's also happening in schools. Not just aesthetically about how the school looks, but also the way teachers behave with their students, and that's a whole nother episode. Man, we can have y'all a bunch of episodes.
Yeah, come on.
But yeah.
I was gonna. Never mind.
Oh, go ahead. Go. No need to apologize. Go ahead.
Totally fine.
Jaden Smith actually had a video which I posted where he was talking about the comparisons of prison to school, and people were just like, "No, schools are not like prisons." I'm like, "No, they."
I can say from experience.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, brother. Speak on that.
School does kind of relate to prison.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, in a way where, like, when I went to school, like, let's say we had a fight. And you know when you fight in prison, police come out of, like, guards come out of nowhere. That's how it was in my school. Like, guards would come, like, police would come out of nowhere, like, just rush the shit.
Yeah.
And then, like, just break up the fight and then start, like, just grabbing people random as fuck.
Yeah.
That's how it was at my school, like, going there.
So you had guards at your school?
Yeah, we have school police. We have Miami-Dade school police. Yeah, so, like.
They had guns?
Yeah, they had guns. Yeah, they had guns.
Ours too. Yeah.
I was even integrated by one. Like, I got in a big fight. I remember it was like around 10th grade year, and then I remember like it was like a big gang fight, and then I wasn't in the game, but I was affiliated with people in that game, and then they got me in a room and they just sat me there and just interrogated me, and then my mom never came. I probably would have like been taken to jail that night. I mean that day. I'm sorry, but
that's real.
It was crazy how like at such a young age, for something so minor, I guess, they just ready to like just throw the book at you. Like,
but yeah, that goes right into the school to prison pipeline. Like the fact that they're trying to put more police in schools now, in the wake of all of the school shootings that are happening. Like this is just another entryway into getting more and more youth, more and more students right on the path to prison.
And it's also like particular students. We also know that black and brown boys are the ones who are suspended the most. Specifically in middle schools, I'm sure high schools too, and I'm sure K through 12. But what I read is it was talking about middle schools. And when you look at your prisons, predominantly black, followed by brown folks. So like this is, there's so many parallels. A good book to read.
I'm just like hearing right now, and just thinking like, and just thinking back. I'm like, damn, like it's true a lot of what you say, because like I have hella homies like they will get suspended. They'll go to CSI, but they was never like. Took it back on that one. I was like, whoa, yeah. And then like ISS school suspension or OSS. When you talk to them,
or saying to the trailers,
friend of friend, or like when you talk to them as a friend of friend, there's a lot going on through their head.
Yes,
at that age.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And the thing is like,
absolutely.
never one time did it, like somebody sat there and just said like, yo, like. What's going on? Like, why you doing these things?
That's a type of restorative justice right there.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
And then that's something that our youth talk about now. So we work with different youth organizations. Shout out to Power Youth Center.
I've heard great things about Power Youth.
They're amazing.
You gotta talk to Jabari.
Yeah.
He'll break this. Like he'll break school.
All the way down.
Man, y'all gotta put me in contact.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta put me in contact.
Yeah.
But they talk about wanting less police and wanting more guidance counselors, wanting more social workers.
Yeah.
Folks that will actually care to actually talk to them and see what's happening with them and see how they can help them be better students in school instead of just throwing them in jail, locking away the key.
Ricky Lay is saying SROs. I'm not sure what SROs are. In the school to prison pipeline, they're socially designed.
School resource officers.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're saying putting 5-year-old in handcuffs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some videos that have gone very viral about that. And a great book that I would recommend. Michel Foucault was this French historian, philosopher, who wrote a book called Discipline and Punish. And where he specifically outlines the similarities between prisons, schools, and military. And I mean, phenomenal book. Very philosophical, but so relevant to everything that we're talking about. Well, what she's saying, asking what happened to you versus what is wrong with you.
Right.
Yeah. And we see how this plays differently racially, gender, class as well, right? Social class, sexual orientation, like. We can analyze this in many ways, which all of them are just horrible. But yeah, so where does Dream Defenders kind of see everything going? There's midterm elections coming up, right? November.
Yeah, very important.
Extremely important.
Extremely important. Also, you have to remember that I think this election we have about 60 new amendments or laws.
Well, the ballot is going to be 60 pages long.
Yeah, 60 pages long.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like 60 pages long. So it's like one of the longest ballots in the history. Like, in the history of Florida.
Oh wow.
So right now we're trying to get prepared and try to inform people about that. So we're still trying to figure out how that we're going to go about that.
Well, no, we have a plan.
We got a plan. Okay.
So coming up until November, we're going to be having different educational town halls within our communities to tell folks about the different.
Please let me know so I can share this information too.
No worries. So the first
I guess you'll be posting on your Instagram.
Yeah, most
right.
Definitely.
Dream Defenders.
Go for it.
Oh no, go.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna be letting folks know about the Freedom Papers, about Geo Group as a whole, and what they do in the state, in our state specifically. So that's gonna be the first town hall. The next one is gonna be like a people's town hall with our legislators. So folks running for office in the state and in the city of Miami specifically. And basically just grilling them about the things they say they stand for and what they're going to be doing for the city and the state. And then lastly, we're going to have a town hall that's going to be around letting folks know about the different issues that are going to be on the ballot specifically. And we're going to come out with voter guides to help folks just be more informed about what they're going to experience when they go to the ballot box. All of this is going to be available on our website, dreamdefenders.org. And like you were saying, you can go follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook.
Dream Defenders. There's also a Miami Dream Defenders.
Yes.
Yeah. We do have a question. Please just enjoy this holiday. Why make it political?
This holiday is political.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Do you know the history? We were founded on war, violence, and genocide. So we could talk about war, violence, and genocide today. So thank you. And I'm enjoying this conversation. So I think we're doing it.
And if you're trying to talk in a patriotic way, it was because people wasn't represented in the right way. So that was the whole reason why we're here right now.
Yes.
Representation. So right now we're fighting for representation for our communities. Back then they were fighting for representation for their communities back then. So anyway, you just can't run away from the political aspect of this holiday.
And I think it goes back to freedom. Tonight's topic is freedom. Freedom is in itself a political. And I think that most things in life are actually quite political.
Oh yeah.
Right. If a white body goes outside with a hoodie on, the first thing that you would think about is the climate, the weather. Oh, it must be cold outside. It must be cold outside, right? A darker body puts on a hoodie. Well, now you have the right to kill them, right? And that's kind of how we started talking with Trayvon Martin, right? And kind of the impetus for Dream Defenders. So it race, gender, class, everything is political, whether we want to or not.
I feel like in general we just live in a political society.
Everything is politics.
Everything is politics.
And by politics, I don't just mean policy. It's the struggle of power. It's power relations. The food that you eat is political.
Yes.
There's a reason why certain people eat certain foods. There's a certain reason why people only have access to certain foods.
Where you live is political.
Where you live is political.
Go to school is political.
Right. Everything can be is political, and we should be having these conversations more and more and more.
I feel like in general people just are scared to talk about it, scared to say it's political, and I feel like it comes from not a way of just being conformed with your society. It's just like you just don't know how to address it in the right way.
Right.
Like I have conversations with my friends, and they're like, sometimes I start talking about my work and what I'm doing, and it's like, "But why you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" Well, I'm like, I feel strength, talking about it.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the way where I can help my community. I can help y'all, and I feel like if y'all find that voice, you can help yourselves and you can help your family. You can help everybody else.
That's facts.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, don't run away from it. You know what I'm saying? It's there. It's
That's
always
the
going
real
to be
shit,
there.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And they want you to run away from it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the powers that be want someone like that to be like, oh, just enjoy your holiday. Like I am enjoying my holiday. Letting y'all know about the shitty. Ooh, can we curse?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the time. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We got
But yeah,
hook up,
let folks know about the shitty ways that folks are trying to run our state. Like, I love doing this. I love putting people on game. Like, we need to know this so we can fight harder. We can build better. We can be stronger.
Absolutely.
And then 4, 5, 6, 20 years down the line, we will see a fully transformed Florida. Like, that's what I truly believe, and I know we can do that.
I think you said that beautifully. I think both of you did. And I think one of the things that has helped me out the most is not just these conversations, but also reading. Like reading has been reading is political. It's a way of fighting back. And I would encourage you to read on this day, especially Frederick Douglass's "What Does 4th of July Mean to the American Negro," which was his speech that he gave, I think, in like 1852, I think, prior to emancipation. And it is such a powerful speech. And trying to think about that, how it relates to today, is also, I think, a good exercise that I wish if I could encourage folks to do. And I think that is amazing. And I think what y'all are doing, I think I love what you said about coming together. And I think you said it too about finding your strength within this community of a group of organizers who are dedicated to something that we need. So. Yeah, I want to thank y'all for coming on the show tonight. Appreciate y'all. Y'all could be anywhere else turning up. But
this is a turn up. Okay?
This is a turn up. You're right. This is a turn up. We got bottles right here. Right. But man, is anything y'all want to tell the folks as we kind of depart?
Well, all right. So I'll tell you about the meeting. So we have meetings at the Belafonte Tecose Center. So it's around 62nd and 9th Ave, close to 7th Avenue.
It's in Liberty City, right?
Yeah, Liberty City. It's in the heart of Miami. That's the heart is. And pretty much we have meetings every other week on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock.
7 p.m.
So just come through. We'll let you know about what we do. Also, we're going to see with Gerson if we can give you the online pledge. Of the Freedom Pledge,
Was it an online pledge?
Yeah, it's an online version.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're trying to make it as accessible as possible.
There's a link?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a link. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
And also about the Freedom Papers, and you can find that at dreamdefenders.org. And you can also, I think you can sign a pledge right there, right there.
Yeah.
And also, if you want to communicate to any elected officials in your community or any candidates, you can find the Freedom Pledge there. And it pretty much talks about how we're trying to divest money from Geo Group and the NRA or any for prison lobby. And you can communicate with your local political public official and let them know about the Freedom Pledge.
Freedom Pledge is something that we've been, me and India have been working on for the past month or so.
Yeah.
It's calling our local legislators, our gubernatorial candidates, and letting them know that, as a community, we want them to take a hard stand against taking money from the for-profit prison lobby or prison organization, the GEO Group, and the NRA. Cease and desist and put that money back into the community because we need it. Y'all don't need that money to do any type of what
responded
for it? Yeah, a lot of them. What? Andrew Gillum has signed on.
Okay. I went to the Democrat gala this past weekend. My frat brother got me a ticket. The blue.
Oh, so you was there on Sunday?
Nice.
It's Saturday.
Oh, it's just okay. So on Sunday,
The bougiest, most elitist thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Well,
Yeah.
we kind of made a dream offender, wild because on Sunday we passed a resolution where we made pretty much the whole party in Florida, the whole Democratic Party in Florida, not take money from private prisons.
Man, that's
huge.
that
was a big step. So it was
That's
inspired
huge.
and written by the Freedom Pledge. So that was something really big.
And then, as an aside, like there's an amendment in that resolution that specifies not taking money from PACs. And what was the other one?
Yeah, I think it was PACs.
Just
PACs and committees.
Okay. Super PACs. So that's a really big deal because a lot of the times campaigns like to, funnel money from corporations like the Geo Group and the NRA through super PACs to kind of, muddy the waters and not make it look like they're taking money, but they usually are.
Yeah. The research has been like really interesting because you find out that a lot of officials, especially in our communities where me and Brickley live in, have taken money. And they probably haven't taken it unknowingly, but they have taken money. So when you call them out on it, they're like really surprised. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? So right now we're trying to follow up and try to see how they can get, we can get the money that they've taken and just give it back to the community, which is community-based organization, public schools, or just in any way, shape where it helps the community out.
And so Chevron Jones was on the show last week, and we talked about, we asked him these hard questions about taking money, and he was saying that you can go to their website, these representatives' website, and you can actually follow the money. You can look on the reports.
Yeah, it's called followthemoney.org.
Followthemoney.org. Yeah, there you go. Followthemoney.org.
And Open Secrets.
Open Secrets. Yeah. Oh yeah, Open Secrets and followthemoney.org. And you can see who has taken money from where. Which is and Chevron also saying that you can show up to these people's place of work because you own this place. You pay taxes.
You can call them. They are public servants. They are here to serve the public.
Yeah,
so call them out on their shit.
And that's the thing I think people don't understand that. Remember, these people work for you.
They work for you. You pay their salaries.
You get them elected. You know what I'm saying? So any sense where they trying to avoid you, just call them out on it. Don't be afraid of that.
Right.
And that's right there, just trying to give you a sense of power of what you have in the political process. You have power, and we try to make people understand that.
I'm glad you said call because a lot of people don't call no more. Folks usually text, DM, sliding into them.
I still call people.
I get on the phone with you real quick.
Yeah, old school.
Verbal communication is very important.
Talk about it.
Verbal communication is very important.
Yes, most definitely.
Man, well, I appreciate y'all so much, man, for stopping by the show. Today's the 4th of July. It's supposed to represent freedom in this country, but it's very difficult to think of that when it's so much is in our faces. Trust me, this has been going on since it started, right? But with social media now, it's even more prevalent in our faces, which maybe that's a good thing. People begin to wake up. I don't know.
Like you said before, something about click activism.
Clicktivism.
I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just
that can't be the only thing you're doing.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying? For some people, that's the only thing they can do.
That's true. Yeah,
but at the same time, I feel like if we encourage people to go out and enjoy organizations or join events in the community, I feel like we need to do more.
Even
of that.
funding. Because these organizations also need money.
Yeah, they need. Yeah, they need.
So if you got some money to spare, $2-3. Every little bit goes a long way.
$2 goes a long way. Trying to build an organization.
I feel like there's nothing wrong with click activism personally, but I feel like eventually you have to get involved and you have to be out here talking to people and just having the conversation. Because think about it. Let's say somebody sees something about the Freedom Papers, they can go to somebody and tell them about the Freedom Papers, and that way it spreads. And maybe that person that heard about the Freedom Papers might join the organization.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's by word of mouth.
Oh, absolutely.
So if maybe the person that told the person about the Freedom Papers might not join, but the person that learned about the Freedom Papers might join. So just look at it in that way.
No, that's facts.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Yeah.
Anything you would like to say, Brett?
Just get out into your community. Start talking to your neighbors. Talk to each other.
That's powerful in itself, honestly.
Yeah, we went to the beach today and we were canvassing, and Miami's diverse as hell.
Yeah, almost.
You had Asian people, Haitian people, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans. You had everybody, and it was just like everybody was just chilling, enjoying the day. And they're saying like, you know what I'm saying? Even though America was built on war and genocide, like we have to think about it. This shit can be great. It has potential, and I say that in my community, especially Okalaka. Every community has potential to be great, to be better, to be more united.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is like this: it's not addressed in the right way. You know what I'm saying? It's not. We fearmonger people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We have to stop that. So that's how I feel about freedom.
Don't be scared of your neighbors.
Yeah.
They're just like you, I promise. Like, just go talk to them. Go kicking it at the soccer field and play soccer with your little neighbors. Like, go help your
little neighbors. Okay.
I mean,
we're hiding inclusive.
I meant like in age, little.
I'm playing.
But yeah, like engage with each other. But engage with each other. Like talk to each other, because that's the only way we're gonna be able to understand each other and really like make the change that we want to see. And there's a lot of change that can happen in Florida, and I believe in it.
And I think anytime we're trying to address some type of systemic type of oppression, it requires collectivities, us coming together, right? And how can we begin to even come together if you can't even talk to your neighbor, talk to people next door? Like, so that is extremely important, getting to know them, because coming together to fight this thing, because these are systems of power. We have to be on a united front. So I definitely appreciate y'all coming to the show tonight. Appreciate everyone tuning in. I had a lot of comments saying beautiful show, great show. Man, appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all for coming and being here. Man, absolutely, man. Please send me whatever links y'all want. I'll definitely be sending
taking
out
over
y'all's
Woke Wednesdays.
events.
Coming soon.
See, why gotta be take over? See, that's almost some colonization.
I know.
See,
I just like to take over. We're not gonna take it.
I'm
It's
playing.
gonna be a collective effort. We're gonna come through, slide.
Amen. Bring the whole crew next time. You know what I'm saying? We'll make it a thing. But thank y'all again. Thank y'all for tuning in. Enjoy yourselves. Today is a day off for a lot of folks. So please enjoy time with your family. Be safe. A lot of drunk drivers out there, so please be safe. Thanks, y'all, and we'll see y'all next week. Oh, next week we're talking about